you can see this part here is looking really good. Basically no rust in here at all, so that's nice to see. There's a little bit right there. See, wherever the excuse me excuse me, wherever the factory spot welds are, you know, that's kind of what burns the primer off, and then you get the moisture in there and it causes rust. There's a little tiny bit of bubbling there. So yeah, basically what works good is a screwdriver, maybe a hammer, and just using a heat gun to soften it up a bit, and then it comes off real easy. So once this is all off, I'm gonna sand down any bubbly areas, rusty areas a little bit, put some OSFO on there, let it sit for a day. You're supposed to let it sit for at least 24 hours. And then debating on, I have some epoxy primer, which I'm going to put in the channel. It's either that or Rust Bullet. I've got some Rust Bullet, I just don't know if it's gone bad or not. So anyways, so that's kind of where things are at now with this. So I got a little carried away and forgot to show you what it looks like, what the rusty spots look like after the OSFO was applied, but over 24 hours has gone by, and I literally just put down a coat of epoxy primer. Just gonna let it dry for a little bit. I'll do one more coat, and then tomorrow I will do the self-leveling seam sealer. So that's how things look right now. So we've got the epoxy primer on here in the gutter, gave it a bit of a scuff, cleaned it all out. Now I'm putting in the 3M self-leveling sealer, and you want to make sure you aim it right where the sheet metal overlaps each other, and make sure you kind of check it every once in a while, because if you're not careful, sometimes the sealant won't flow in there. So that's why I have the nozzle angled towards the outside of the drip rail, because that's where that seam is that we want to make sure we fill 100%. And then the other side, I ended up filling the A-pillar channel all the way down to the bottom, and it worked out real nice. So probably try and do the same thing with this one. But yeah, this stuff levels out quite nicely. This is kind of the process here, a little bit at a time. And then we'll show you the A-pillar when we get there in a minute or two. So as you can see here, I'm applying the 3M self-leveling seam sealer along the A-pillar drip rail. The key here is to go really slowly. Make sure you have it in the gap. I was having a bit of an issue with the lid here, so I was kind of playing with it a little bit. And then when I lifted the nozzle off, I ended up with a little bit of an air pocket. So you'll see me go back and fill that up. Now I applied the sealer the entire length of the pillar, basically all the way to the bottom. Some guys apparently fill the channel up halfway, and they say it runs all the way to the bottom, but that could be using a different product. This stuff doesn't really flow that much. It does drip down a little bit. So I basically went all the way to the bottom, and then there was a little bit of excess that flowed out, and I just had the piece of cardboard at the bottom to catch it. And then once it dries off, I just cut it off with a knife. Hey guys, so hopefully you found the video useful on how to reseal your gutter, I highly recommend using a heat gun. It makes removal much easier. Picks, a flathead screwdriver, some plastic scrapers can be useful so you're not scratching things up too much. Those are basically all the tools required. So after I scraped everything out, just to review, after I scraped the old seam sealer out, I ground down any rust that was there. I applied OSFO. You got to let it sit for at least 24 hours. After that, I applied an epoxy primer to the entire roof gutter, let that dry for a day, and then I applied the 3M self-leveling seam sealer, and then I applied epoxy primer to that. Once that was dry, I just applied some rattle can Trem Clad. As I said before, I'm going for protection, not perfection. As much as I would like perfection, I just don't have the time to do the entire body with the appropriate paint, etc. Down the road, I do hope to repaint this truck, but it's essentially rust-free now. So there you have it. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.